He said he was going on a last-minute business trip, but something felt off. That night, I called his hotel and asked for his room. The receptionist said, "Oh, Mr. and Mrs., his last name?" "Yes, they just checked in." My blood ran cold. I waited until morning, then knocked on his door. When he opened it, still sleepy, his smile faded instantly. Behind him, a woman wrapped in a sheet stared at me in shock. "Who is she?" she asked. I crossed my arms and said, "That's what I came to ask you." His lies were over. I'm 43, married to Peter Rayner. We've been together 19 years, married for 17. We live in Brooklyn, New York. We have a teenage daughter. She's 15, in high school, and she's my whole world. I've been the stay-steady partner in this marriage, making it work even when it felt like I was doing it alone. Peter works in marketing for a pretty big company based in Manhattan. Once or twice a month, he has to travel. Usually to Chicago, sometimes Dallas or Atlanta. These trips weren't frequent enough to make me suspicious. It just felt like part of the job. And truthfully, I liked the quiet when he was gone. It gave me space to think. Last Wednesday night, Peter came home later than usual. Not super late, just enough for me to notice. He walked in, coat half on, phone in his hand. He looked distracted. He kissed me on the forehead, barely made eye contact, then went straight upstairs. A few minutes later, I followed him up. He was already pulling out his suitcase. I asked what was going on. He said his boss needed him in Chicago. Something about a client pulling out and needing to be talked off the ledge. The words sounded rehearsed, like he'd practiced them. I asked when he was leaving. He said tomorrow morning. First flight out. Would only be gone 2 nights. Said he'd be back by Saturday afternoon. I asked if he needed help packing. He said no. Then he said he was going to shower. I should have let it go. I should have just walked out and focused on myself. But I didn't. Something in his voice made me feel cold inside. A weird tension I couldn't explain. It was like he was there, but not really. While he was in the shower, I opened his suitcase. Just curious. He packed his new cologne. The expensive one I got him for Christmas. He only uses it on special occasions. He packed the blue button-down I bought him for our anniversary last year. He hates button-downs. Said they were too stuffy. But there it was. My stomach started to feel heavy. I don't even know why. Then I did something I swore I'd never do. I picked up his phone from the nightstand. I know his passcode. I've always known it. He never changed it. I opened his texts. Most of them were boring work stuff. But then I saw a name I didn't recognize. Just 2 letters. MJ. No emoji. No picture. Just initials. Clicked the thread. Excited for tomorrow. Got the hotel booked, babe. Same place. You bring the wine? I put the phone down so fast it dropped to the floor. My hands were shaking. My heart felt like it was going to break through my chest. I stood there, staring at the suitcase, the open drawer, the smell of his shampoo drifting out of the bathroom like nothing was wrong. I didn't say a word. When he came out, I pretended to be asleep. The next morning, he kissed our daughter goodbye. Kissed me on the cheek. Said he'd call when he landed. Then he rolled his suitcase out the door. I stood at the window and watched the car pick him up. I felt like a ghost in my own house. He sent a photo around 11 a.m., said it was the view from his hotel. Some skyline shot with Chicago buildings in the background. But it looked generic. I'd seen that same photo on Google Images when I searched Chicago hotel views later that day. He texted a few times during the day. Said he was busy. Couldn't talk. Client meetings, dinner, drinks, you know how it goes. I didn't answer. That night, I waited until my daughter went to bed. I poured myself a glass of wine and stared at my phone. I stared at it for hours. Around 9:30, I finally picked it up and called the hotel. I used the number from his fake booking confirmation email. I played dumb. Said I was trying to reach Peter Rayner. Said I was his wife and couldn't remember the room number. The receptionist said, "Let me see. Ah yes, Mr. and Mrs. Rayner? They just checked in earlier tonight. Would you like me to transfer you?" I said no and hung up. I sat in my kitchen for 45 minutes. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even move. It was like my body locked up. I'd just been told by a complete stranger that my husband was checked into a hotel under our last name with another woman. And he didn't even try to hide it. He used the same name. Probably the same story. Probably told her he was divorced. Or separated. Or whatever men like him say to women who don't know better. I booked a flight to Chicago for the next morning. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I had to see it with my own eyes. I told my daughter I had a work thing. Called my friend Carla and asked her to keep an eye on things. Packed a backpack. Didn't sleep a second. The flight was early. I sat in the window seat and stared at the wing for 2 hours. Every time I thought about what might happen, my body went numb again. I got to Chicago around 8:30 a.m. Got a cab to the hotel. I'd memorized the address. I stood in the lobby for 10 minutes before going up. I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to look insane. I just wanted to knock and see his face. I wanted to see if he'd lie to me again. Or if he'd even try. Room 415. I walked down the hallway. My legs were shaking so badly I thought I'd fall. I knocked. No answer for a few seconds. Then the door opened. Peter. In a t-shirt. No pants. Just boxers. His face went pale. You could see the exact second he realized it wasn't housekeeping. His mouth opened. Closed. Then opened again. Before he could say anything, someone walked up behind him. A woman. Dark hair. Young. Probably 10 years younger than me. Wearing only a bedsheet. She looked confused. Then looked at him. Then at me. She said, "Who is she?" And I said, "That's what I came to ask you." Peter stood in the doorway like a statue. That stupid half-asleep look on his face slowly turned into full-blown panic. The girl, MJ, I guessed, stepped back like she touched fire. She pulled the sheet tighter around her. "I asked you a question," she snapped at him, voice cracking. "Who the hell is this woman?" He didn't say anything. So I did. "I'm his wife," I said. 17 years. Her face changed completely. Like something shattered behind her eyes. She looked at Peter, then back at me, and her whole body kind of slumped. She turned and stormed back into the room. Peter stepped into the hallway and shut the door behind him. "Nora," he started, "just let me explain." I looked at him. Really looked. He had bags under his eyes. His hair was messy. He didn't even look like the man I married. He looked like a stranger pretending to be someone I once loved. "You checked into a hotel using our last name," I said, voice low. "You packed the shirt I gave you for our anniversary. You flew across the country to play house with someone who thinks you're single. And you want to explain?" He rubbed his face and leaned against the wall like he was the one exhausted. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he said. I laughed. "That's your story? You tripped and fell into her." He looked away. I could tell he was scrambling. Probably trying to figure out what version of the truth would get him out of this. He had no idea that the damage was already done. Words weren't going to fix it. "I think we should talk," he said. "I don't want to talk," I said. "I want the truth. All of it. Every last disgusting detail." He was silent. Then he muttered, "It's been going on for a few months." That's when it hit me in the stomach. Not a one-time mistake. Not a drunken slip. This was planned. Ongoing. Repeated. "How many trips?" I asked. "How many hotels? How many times did you lie to my face while you were screwing her?" He didn't answer. He didn't have to. I stepped back. I was shaking. But I wasn't going to cry. Not in front of him. Then something happened I didn't expect. The door opened again. MJ stepped out. Fully dressed now, with her bag over her shoulder. She didn't look at me. She looked straight at Peter. "You told me you were divorced," she said. Her voice was dead calm. "You made me meet your boss. You introduced me as your fiancé." My heart dropped. "Fiancé?" Peter looked like he'd been hit by a truck. She kept going. "You told me you were just waiting on papers. That she was toxic. That she cheated on you. That she was crazy." "I bought a wedding dress, Peter." I felt like the ground was splitting underneath me. "A wedding dress?" I didn't think it would get this far," he stammered. She shook her head. "You're disgusting." Then she looked at me for the first time. "I didn't know," she said softly. "I swear. I would never." I believed her. And I hated that I did. Because it made everything worse. It wasn't just betrayal. It was theater. He wasn't just cheating. He was performing a whole other life. She walked away. Peter just stood there. The hallway was quiet except for my breathing. Fast. Shaky. I could hear my pulse in my ears. I looked at him and said, "You have no idea what's about to happen." He said, "Nora, please. Don't do anything rash." I wanted to laugh again. Me doing something rash? This man just tried to marry another woman while still legally tied to me, and I was the one being irrational? I turned to leave. I didn't want to hear another word. But he grabbed my arm. And this is where everything changed. When he touched me, I pulled away hard. Reflex. But he slipped on the edge of the hallway carpet and fell into the wall. The thud was loud. A door opened down the hall. An older woman stepped out with her phone in her hand. "Is everything all right?" she asked. Peter stood up quickly, rubbing his elbow. "We're fine," he muttered. I didn't say a word. I just kept walking toward the elevator. When I got down to the lobby, I asked the front desk to print a receipt for Mr. and Mrs. Rayner's stay. They hesitated. But I had ID. They printed it. 2 nights. 1 king bed. Bottle of wine ordered to the room. Room service for 2. I took the receipt. Folded it. Later, when I got to the airport, I scanned every photo, every text, every shred of this mess into a folder. Then I sent it to my lawyer. But here's the twist. When I got home, there was a package on my porch. From Peter's company. Inside was a card congratulating Peter and MJ Rayner on their upcoming wedding. Signed by coworkers. Inside the envelope? 2 round-trip tickets to Aruba. The wedding was already planned. And I hadn't even filed for divorce. I stood in my hallway staring at the Aruba tickets like they were radioactive. 2 first-class round-trip tickets from JFK to Queen Beatrix International Airport. Departure date, exactly 2 weeks from that day. I flipped the card over. The handwriting was neat. Neater than Peter's. Probably from the office assistant who did all the cards and cakes. Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness. You two are perfect together. Congrats, Mr. and Mrs. Rayner, soon to be. Love, all of us at Stratman and Company. Stratman and Company. That's his company. The one I helped him get into. The one I stayed up with him for 2 weeks straight while he made his presentation deck for the job interview. The one where I sent brownies with a ribbon the first day he got hired. They all thought he was divorced. They all thought MJ was his fiancé. And nobody knew I even existed. I grabbed my phone and opened my Photos app. I stared at the receipt from the hotel. Then scrolled to the screenshots I took of the texts from MJ. The messages about their future. The fake client meetings. The little heart emojis. I was shaking. Like my body didn't know whether to cry or scream or throw something. I called my lawyer. Told her I needed to meet ASAP. She answered with, "Nora, I was just about to call you." My stomach dropped. She said, "Peter already filed for divorce." My throat went dry. "What?" I said. "I haven't been served anything." She hesitated. "That's because he filed in Illinois 2 months ago." I couldn't even breathe. "He claimed you live apart. That you agreed to a quiet dissolution. He gave a Chicago address for you. Had someone sign a false service acknowledgement. Are you telling me," I said slowly, "that he pretended I already agreed to a divorce?" She sighed. "He committed fraud." Plain and simple. My hands were ice cold. I sat down before my knees gave out. "But how does that even work? Wouldn't someone check? Wouldn't I get a letter or a call?" She said, "Sometimes the system fails. Especially if the forms are forged and notarized by someone shady. I'm already requesting the full case file from the Cook County clerk. But Nora, he's been planning this for a long time." I thanked her. Hung up. Just sat there in total silence. That's when the knock came at the door. It was Carla, my best friend. I forgot I'd texted her when I landed. She walked in, saw my face, and dropped everything. I told her everything. She didn't say much. Just hugged me. Then, after a while, she asked, "Are you okay if I tell you something that might upset you?" My heart was already numb, but I nodded. She pulled out her phone. Showed me a picture. It was Peter. With MJ. At a holiday party. In December. They were holding hands in front of a Christmas tree. MJ was wearing a red satin dress. Peter had his arm around her waist. His other hand holding a champagne flute. "That's the Stratman and Company holiday party," she said. "A friend of mine works for their catering company." She posted this in a story back in December. Said they were such a cute couple. I didn't think anything of it until you said he was cheating. I looked closer. He was wearing the silver watch I gave him last Christmas. The same one I spent 2 months saving for. That party? He told me it was employees only. Said spouses weren't allowed due to limited headcount. I stayed home that night. Made hot cocoa. Watched a movie with our daughter. Texted him at midnight and told him to come home safe. Meanwhile, he was taking champagne photos with his fake fiancé. I felt like I couldn't breathe again. Carla touched my hand and said, "Nora, he's been living a double life. Not just cheating. Pretending to be someone else." And no one called him out. We sat there for a while. Not talking. Just existing in the wreckage of what used to be my marriage. Later that night, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. The transcript popped up. "Hi, this is Melissa. You don't know me, but I know your husband. Or I guess, ex-husband? He's been seeing my friend for a while. I think you deserve to know some things. Please call me back." A third woman. Or maybe a second mistress. Who even knows anymore? I called her back. Melissa was polite. Nervous. She said I didn't want to cause trouble. But I've known MJ for a long time. She's my old roommate. I didn't even know she was dating Peter until a few weeks ago. I asked her what she meant. She said, he told MJ that his wife was abusive. That you cheated on him. That you were an alcoholic. That you hit him. I nearly dropped the phone. He told her you locked him out of the house once in the middle of winter. That you drained your joint savings. That you threatened to take his daughter away. MJ felt bad for him. Said he was healing from trauma. I was speechless. She kept going. "I just wanted you to know. In case you were trying to figure out how deep this goes." I thanked her and hung up. I opened our joint bank account online. And I froze. He had transferred $37,000 out last month. Said it was business expenses. The money was gone. Just like that. I checked the credit card next. $8,400 charged to a luxury jewelry store. 3 weeks ago. I texted Carla. She texted back 2 minutes later with a screenshot from MJ's Instagram. A diamond ring. Captioned, "He makes me believe in love again," and there it was. The same watch I bought him. On his wrist. In the background. The next week was a blur. My lawyer had filed emergency motions. We froze the accounts. We subpoenaed his company for records. MJ's Instagram was set to private. Peter hadn't tried to call. Not once. Then I got an email. Subject line, "Please come to the engagement dinner." It was from Stratman and Company, S event coordinator. Probably a mass BCC. Inside was a fancy Evite. "You're invited." Peter Rayner and MJ Thomas engagement celebration Friday, 7 p.m. Hotel Vivant, Manhattan dress code, cocktail attire the audacity. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Then I got dressed. I didn't know why. I wasn't planning revenge. I didn't want drama. I just needed to look him in the eye. One last time. Before I buried whatever part of me still wanted to believe this was all a mistake. Carla came with me. She said, "I'm not letting you face the circus alone." We got to the hotel early. I wore a black dress Peter used to love on me. The kind he'd compliment, then ignore 2 minutes later while checking his phone. We walked in and it was like a scene from a TV show. Champagne, soft jazz, little hors d'oeuvres being passed around. Fake smiles. Expensive perfume. It reeked of image. There he was. Peter. In a navy suit. Laughing with MJ, who wore a white dress, not quite bridal, but close. He had his arm around her. Like they were royalty. Like nothing had happened. He didn't see me right away. But his coworkers did. Whispers started. I heard someone say, "Isn't that?" MJ turned first. Her smile froze mid-laugh. Peter followed her gaze. And the moment he saw me, his whole body stiffened. I walked straight toward them. No yelling. No drama. Just steady steps. People parted like I was Moses walking through disbelief. He opened his mouth. I raised a hand. "No," I said. "Don't you dare." MJ looked between us, terrified. "What's going on?" she asked him. I turned to her. Quietly. Calmly. "I'm his wife." The room went dead silent. Gasps. Forks dropping. A wine glass broke somewhere near the bar. "I never signed any divorce papers," I said. "Because he filed in Illinois behind my back. Forged my name. Lied to everyone here. And used our money to buy you that ring." Peter stepped forward. "Nora, let's go outside and talk." I said, "You want to talk now? In front of your fake fiancé? In front of your company? Fine." I turned to the crowd. Peter Rayner is a liar. A con man. And a coward. He's still legally married to me. He committed fraud to get engaged to her. And he used our joint savings to pay for all of this. MJ was frozen. Then she pulled off the ring and threw it at him. "Tell me this isn't true," she whispered. "Please." Peter didn't answer. She slapped him. Right there in front of everyone. I didn't stop her. A man in a gray suit walked up, Peter's boss, I assumed. "Is this true?" he asked, low and serious. Peter didn't deny it. He didn't say a word. Security was called. But not for me. They escorted Peter out of his own engagement party. MJ sat in a corner, crying. Her friends surrounding her. Her mascara streaked down her face. She looked like a child whose whole world just collapsed. I felt for her. As crazy as it sounds, I really did. People whispered as I left. Some looked at me with pity. Others with respect. But no one dared say a word. The fallout was fast. Peter was fired the next day. His fraudulent divorce filing was thrown out. My lawyer filed a counterclaim with everything attached, the fake service, the financial theft, the forged notarization. We went nuclear. MJ posted a black screen on Instagram with the words, "Don't believe everything they say. Believe what they hide." She moved out of the city 2 weeks later. Peter tried calling. Left one voicemail. "I messed up. Please. I need to see my daughter." He didn't say, "I love you." Not once. Not to me. Not to her. She blocked his number. She saw the video from the party. Someone had uploaded it. It was blurry, but clear enough. She didn't cry. She just stared at the screen, then said, "He really tried to erase us." It's been a month since that night. The house feels different now. Quieter. But not heavy. Free. I walk past his side of the bed and I don't feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I finally stopped lying to myself. Carla checks in daily. My daughter laughs again. She joined a dance club at school. The divorce is in progress, for real this time. My lawyer says it's one of the easiest cases she's ever had. He practically buried himself, she said. And me? I'm learning how to breathe again. I don't think I'll ever trust that easily again. But I'm not bitter. Just awake. I spent so long begging for breadcrumbs that I forgot what it felt like to eat a real meal. Now I sit at the table alone. And it's enough. I don't know what's next. But it won't be built on lies. And it sure as hell won't have his last name on it.